Well, David, ultimately the result on Monday wasn't what you wanted, but that second half performance must have had everyone up this week.
Yeah, it was. We played really well in the second half, but football's still about two halves, so we have to play better in the first half as well. But I've got to say, I think I've been sore after it because obviously I'm disappointed that we were 3-1 up and we didn't win the game. So, disappointed. I probably still am disappointed because that we didn't see the game out.
And when you look at the performances in that game, as I say, in particular the second half, have Merlin Roll and Tim Rabuna given you something to think about ahead of Sunday?
I think both of them have given me something to think about most of the season, but for long parts of the season we've been relatively settled in some ways. Just Agana Gay, Jimmy Gardner have played very well in the middle of the pitch for long parts of the season. So we've known their capabilities. Tim's probably a bit more than Merlin, but Merlin's also still trying to get used to sort of the speed in the game in the Premier League as well. But they both played really well in midweek, I have to say.
And just on injury news, how is Agana Gay? Is he back?
He's fine. He's not training yet, but he's fine. It's not a serious injury, so we hope he'll be back soon.
Yeah. Can I just ask you about Jack Grealish? We see him around the club doing all kinds of things, with the community and everything. He seems to be really embedded in what Everton is. Where are we at with him? Are there any talks taking place?
No talks at the moment because we're really waiting to see. His foot's improving greatly. He's out. He's sort of boot he's been wearing now, and he's doing a lot more training. So no, there's no further news on Jack at the moment. But I think everybody knows Jack. He's loved wherever he goes, and he's certainly loved here.
When you look at planning for next season, are the next 3 games, would that affect how you think with regards to recruitment?
No, I don't think so. I think that I'm pretty set in my mind what I would like to do and what we should be doing. Obviously, if things went our way and we found ourselves with more games like Crystal Palace have had all year, then we might need to think slightly different. But I don't think so. I think the one thing that you do want is when you do get into a situation, you really need young players. You need young players who you can go to and have them on the bench, and some games bring them through. We probably don't quite have that yet coming through enough. So it's something we have to try and rebuild again.
And for a number of years, we've heard said here, it's a big summer ahead. But this is quite an interesting one, isn't it? With regards to the players you have and the players that you'd like to bring in, and a World Cup as well, which probably complicates things.
Yeah, I think the World Cup will complicate things a lot for a lot of clubs, not just us, and maybe the transfer market. Certainly in the early part, well, I might be wrong in saying that, but that's my thoughts. I think we want to continue building here. I think we have to. I think because we've sort of had a good year this year doesn't mean to say that naturally means that next year flows in and everything goes well. You have to keep trying to challenge and improve, and I'm hoping that we're able to do that.
Looking ahead to Crystal Palace, I think when you played AZ Alkmaar in the semi-final of the Conference League and you got to the final, I think the Saturday after you beat Leeds or the Sunday after you beat Leeds 3-1, I think that's an indication really that you can't take the fact that a team has been in Europe for granted.
No, I mean what people don't understand how difficult it is to play the amount of games that Crystal Palace have played. To play Thursday, Sunday football for a coach is really difficult because you've got such a big game in the Premier League coming up on the Sunday, and but yeah, all your focus is on winning a game on a Thursday night and then trying to quickly change over and be ready for it again on the Sundays. So difficult. Sounds strange because people would say, well, what's the difference between Saturday and Tuesday, for example? But I just think in the way footballers and football managers work, it's quite difficult. But Crystal Palace have done brilliant. To get to a European final, sensational for them. It really is. It's such a big thing. You tend to find you have effects after the games. You've just said that we didn't after a beat AZ Alkmaar, so I'm hoping that Crystal Palace find that they have some effects.
Just finally from me, Oliver Glasner, it's been an odd situation because he's let everybody know he's leaving the club. What type of job has he done there as far as you're concerned?
Well, I was going to say it was a Britishman who won or got to a final. It's not. He's obviously Austrian, and prior to that, I think Maresca won it last year, didn't he, as well? So we need to get more Brits winning or getting to the finals, that's for sure. but I think it's big congratulations to him and his team. I think they've done remarkable. Winning the FA Cup last year was just unbelievable. It really was, and I think especially how they won the final as well was so good. So they've got good players, good team, good manager, and they've found themselves in another final, which is a European finals, incredibly special.
Thanks, Dave.
Cheers.
Thanks, Al. We'll go to Simon at Premier League Productions.
Hi, Simon.
Hello again. Can I just ask you about what happens at the end of matches? I've just been talking to one of your players there. He just put it down to English football, essentially, with the last 4 matches now being a goal in stoppage time and it changing the eventual result. Have you identified yourself here what exactly changes, or is it just that's the way that the Premier League goes sometimes?
Because we've lost a goal late on. Yeah, I think sometimes, but most of the time it'll be some decision making. Some from the manager as well, I've got to say, but mainly from the players. I think if you look back, I could look back at the goals recently and think poor choices, poor decisions in final moments. You know, we could have seen the ball out in the game against Man City the other night. We chose not to. So quite often, you know, you're a manager, you're hoping that all the decisions in the pitch they make more right than wrong. And a couple of late decisions in games have cost us a little bit, and it's hard to take because we really we should have been picking up 3 points in midweek. We should have been, not necessarily because that we deserved it more than Man City, but just because we got ourselves in such a good position and we weren't able to follow it through.
Have you got a big decision to make in terms of who starts up front now? Tierno's got 8 goals this season. Obviously.
Yeah, a little bit. I think when somebody scores 2 goals, but I think Beto's been quite consistent in the last month or so, certainly the last
5 in his last 7.
So from that point of view, there's another argument to that. So yeah, but I think really all season I've had a decision to make. We've chopped and changed a little bit with them and found who's in form, who's scoring, who looks good in training, who's scoring a bit more. So yeah, they have.
And I know we have touched on it before, but is there ever going to be a situation that you can imagine where they might actually both start together?
Maybe. But it would probably be something we're saying. You need to change quite a few bits and pieces for that to happen with the team. We've done it before. We've tried it before in the odd game. But if I get to a point where I have to do it to try and win, if it's a must-win situation, then obviously I would try and get the most attacking players on the pitch as I can.
And just finally for me, then you talk about attacking players. It's the first time, I believe, in Premier League history that Everton have had 3 players who've scored 8 goals or more in the same season.
Yeah.
That's got to be a positive tick in the book, hasn't it?
It's a great tick in the book, but it's telling you that we need to get more goal scorers and we need to find more over that time. If it's only 3 8s, I would have been hoping that we had already done that quite easily. So
well, you have with maybe a couple of players, but it's never been 3 or more.
No, I think in years gone by, I think they'd done it prior to the Premier League getting started.
The last time I think was the couple of seasons before, where it was, I've written it down actually, Tony Cotty, Kevin Sheedy and Norman Whiteside was the last time that Everton did it.
It's more than a few seasons back, that isn't it?
Not before the
yeah, that's right. So no, you're right. But when I heard it, I thought for us not to have got goal scorers, it just shows you. I think to be successful or really successful, you need to get quite a few players getting up to 10 goals, and certainly centre forwards you're hoping can possibly get more.
Thank you.
Thanks, Simon. We'll go to Julia at Radio Merseyside.
Hi,
David. When you are talking about the likes of Merlin and Tim, and they're all knocking on your door wanting these chances, and you're saying, actually we had this balance and it was working. Is that one of the more complicated things as a manager? How do you balance that in here? I just wondered, how do you go about? Do you change it, and what makes you make that choice?
It is. It's a big part of being a football manager, and a big part of how you have to work. You have to find a way of giving over bad news well, which sometimes could mean that you're not starting, you're not playing, but you've also got to understand that the manager's there to make the decisions. We're not doing it because we don't like you, or something like that. We're doing it because we either think there's a reason for it, and I think most players do understand that. But it is a big part of the job, and then I have to keep these players ready and able, that when they do get the opportunity, that they're in the right frame of mind to play and come on and make the difference. and I have to say they've been great. Both the boys you talk about are terrific boys, really are. And I'm pleased because Tim's actually done quite well most of the season. He's been in and out a little bit, but he still had quite a big number of games this year. Merlin, as I said, is getting used to it. And I think people are just beginning to see maybe what Merlin can be or what he is. We're still trying to find out exactly what the usage for him. We're trying to use that great sort of running style he's got and gait in the right areas and see if we can use it to our advantage.
You mentioned the decision making there late on in games. You've said you're still not really over what happened on Monday because you actually had more shots on target than Manchester City as well. So that shows the quality that you had on the pitch. That decision making though, late on when you're tired in a game, is that just experience? Is that anything you can replicate in Finch Farm?
No, well, the first person I'd look at I would always say, what could I have done different? I very, very rarely through my career would make substitutions when we go into injury time. I don't normally do it because I know that the referees can add on 30 seconds and you're trying to see things out, so you're better saying, well, we'll just stick with what we've got. But Harrison couldn't go on any more. We had to, Tim couldn't go on any longer. I'd just seen them running past Kieran a little bit at the end, and I thought, oh my goodness, I don't want us to lose out on this. So you try to make those decisions, and then actually you get done with a minute extra time over the 96 went to 97, which the referee was in his right to do so. So I always look at myself first to see if I could have done it better or if I could have done it different. Maybe one of them I could have made a different choice, but one of them was a must. I had to do it. But I do think that the players have got to take a bit more concentration, and we broke away in the last minute against Man City. 3 players go chasing up the pitch. I'm saying to myself, was that required? Wasn't required. One of them maybe, 2, certainly not 3 of them. Before we get caught out and we end up it leads to we get beaten. We lead to a corner kick with the score from. So poor decision making really, and that's on the pitch. That's not off the pitch.
How long, when you say you think about that, how long as a manager or as a person do you mull over those results for?
I think that one stuck quite badly because even though, I think if people said we drawn against Man City, especially the way they're playing and where they're at, but I came away really disappointed because I thought, what an opportunity. We'd let one go at West Ham, I felt as well, which we shouldn't have done, and even against Liverpool here, we got ourselves in a situation where I didn't think we deserved to lose the game. So we've come away from 3 pretty good performances generally, and not doing huge amount wrong, but lapses late in the game have caused me. 3
games left. What do you feel you would need for you to be satisfied with the season, whether it's Europe or not? What would you want from that?
Well, I want us to play well, and I think we have done for most of the season. I think we've been a more progressive team, trying to play better football, trying to, stamp something down which suits us as a team. We're a long way off a Man City, for example, who in the first half of the night were outstanding. So we need to find how it works for us. We need to work hard and do all those things, but. While we're doing that, we're trying to improve on the ball and try to be a bit more exciting with the football we play. So I want that really. I want us to keep getting better at all those things, nudging it along every game if we can. But there's also winning's the biggest thing for me, and always has been, always will be. And so winning the last 3 games would be the ideal solution.
And just finally for me, taking on Palace, they're in a European final. Villa last night as well. I'm sure you watched it. How much has seeing what they've done this season make you want to bring European football to Hill Dickinson Stadium, to Everton, and have that run?
Well, it's only a couple of years I did do that. I got a chance to do it with West Ham, and it was amazing for the football club, amazing for the supporters, the players, myself, staff. It's very hard to put in words what it feels like. And I've been sort of dreaming all the year that I could get it for the Everton supporters. That would be what I'd really want to do, because I think that we finished last season at Goodison on a high, and I mean by that we avoided relegation, relatively comfortable. We finished the season well. We moved to the new stadium. for most of the season we've been probably talking positive about it. So I'd love to be able to finish it in because I want to keep the momentum, the progress going, because we need to do it again next year, and we'll need to look to continue to improve what we've got.
Thanks, Julia. We'll go to Ian at the Press Association.
Dual job.
Just wanted to clarify on Idrissi, you say he's not trained, but it's also a small injury. Is he definitely out for the weekend?
Yes, he is, yeah.
Okay. What's the latest on his contract situation?
We're not really discussing too much at the moment regarding any of the players' contracts at the moment. We've been tending to do our work behind the scenes quite quietly and nudge things along, and when we've got something to tell you, we'll certainly let you know.
One other player I wanted to check on, you said Tim obviously came off with an issue on Monday night. Is he fit?
Tim came off with cramp.
Right.
Yeah.
So he's fit. And you also talked a little bit about younger players coming through. Can you talk about Tyler Dibbling and where he's at in his development and where you see him going next?
Well, if you're in here, we talk quite often about him in the room here. He's a young player with a lot of potential. Probably found it a little bit difficult settling, getting game time, especially at the start when it was no way Jack Grealish in the team. We like him a lot. We think he's got a lot of talent. So he'll have a lot to show next year, and hopefully he'll show that when he gets the opportunities.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Any further questions in the open section before we move on? No? Okay, thank you.